The cherry blossoms were in full bloom at Han River Park, petals drifting like pink snow through the spring air. Minho Kong walked the riverside path with his fiancée, Soo-yeon Park, her arm linked through his as she scrolled through wedding cake designs on her phone. "What do you think about a 5-tier cake?" Soo-yeon's voice was bright, enthusiastic. "My mother says anything less would be embarrassing for a family of our standing." Minho nodded absently, his sharp eyes scanning the crowds with the habitual wariness of a man who'd survived 3 assassination attempts before his 30th birthday. Joggers passed by, families spread across picnic blankets, couples taking selfies against the backdrop of blooming trees. Then his world stopped. There, sitting on a bench about 50 feet away, was Jordan Mitchell. Her rich brown skin glowed in the dappled sunlight, natural curls pulled back in a colorful headscarf. She wore paint-splattered overalls and was sketching in a large pad while 3 toddlers played at her feet. Minho's breath caught in his throat. The children were about 3 years old, their features an unmistakable blend of Korean and African-American heritage. The little boy looked up at a passing butterfly, and Minho saw his own father's eyes staring back at him. The genetic resemblance was undeniable. Jordan's gaze lifted from her sketch pad and found his across the distance. The color drained from her face. For one frozen heartbeat, they simply stared at each other across 4 years of silence and pain. Then she slammed her sketchbook closed, grabbed the nearest child, and started gathering her things with frantic urgency. "Minho!" Soo-yeon's voice seemed to come from underwater. "You're hurting my arm." He released her immediately, not remembering when he'd gripped her so tightly. "I need to handle something. Take the car. I'll call you later." "But we have the florist appointment in later." His tone left no room for argument. He watched Jordan struggle with the triplets and her art supplies, moving away from the bench as quickly as 3 toddlers would allow. She kept glancing over her shoulder, fear and something else, fury maybe, written across her features. 20 minutes later, Minho sat in his Mercedes with his second-in-command, Detective Yoon Ji-woo, a woman who'd been on his payroll for 5 years and could find anyone, anywhere. "Jordan Mitchell," he said, his voice tight. "Last known address, current employment, everything. And Ji-woo, she has 3 children. I need to know about them, too." Ji-woo's eyebrows rose fractionally. The artist from 4 years ago? Yes. Within 90 minutes, Ji-woo had answers. They sat outside a small art studio in Itaewon, watching Jordan through the large front windows as she worked on a massive canvas, while the children played in a corner filled with toys and cushions. "She owns the studio," Ji-woo reported, reading from her tablet. "Mitchell Fine Arts. Opened 2 years ago. Specializes in fusion artwork, Korean traditional techniques with African-American cultural themes. The children are Maya, Kai, and Sienna Mitchell. No father listed on any birth certificates." Minho's jaw clenched. "Ages?" 3 years, 4 months. The timeline fit perfectly. Jordan would have discovered her pregnancy right after he'd ended things with words designed to cut deep enough to ensure she'd never look back. Words that had saved her life but cost him everything worth having. Financial situation? Ji-woo's expression darkened. Struggling. The studio barely breaks even. She's living in a studio apartment in Hongdae with all 4 of them, and there's a custody investigation file. White-hot rage flooded Minho's system. What? Anonymous report claiming inadequate living conditions. Child welfare investigator scheduled to visit tomorrow. Minho stared through the window at Jordan, who was now helping one of the children, the little girl. With her mother's smile, mix paint colors. Even from here, he could see the exhaustion in Jordan's shoulders, the way she absently rubbed her temples. She was struggling, and it was his fault. "Boss," Jiwoo's voice was carefully neutral. "Your orders?" Minho thought about Soo-yeon, sweet and sophisticated and completely wrong for him. He thought about his family's expectations, the merger their marriage would facilitate, the empire it would expand. Then he thought about 3 children who carried his blood, growing up without knowing their father because he'd been too much of a coward to fight for the woman he loved. "I'm going to fix this," he said finally. "And Miss Park? The wedding?" Minho was quiet for a long moment, watching Jordan laugh at something one of the children said, her whole face lighting up in that way that had first captured his heart. "The wedding can wait." The art studio was closing when Minho approached. Jordan was cleaning paintbrushes, her back to the door, humming a melody he recognized. The same song she used to hum while painting in his penthouse, lost in her creative world. "We need to talk." She spun around, a paintbrush clutched like a weapon. Up close, he could see the changes 4 years had wrought. She was thinner, worry lines around her eyes, but still the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. "No, we don't." Her voice could have frozen fire. "You made yourself crystal clear 4 years ago. Jordan, it's Ems Mitchell to you." She turned back to her cleaning, scrubbing with unnecessary force. "And if you're here to buy art, I'm closed. I saw them today, at the park." Her hands stilled. Maya, Kai, and Sienna. Each name was a knife to his chest. "My children." The paintbrush clattered to the floor. Jordan's shoulders shook, and for a moment he thought she might collapse. Then she straightened, turning to face him with eyes blazing with suppressed fury. "Your children?" Her laugh was bitter. "You don't get to call them that. You don't get to show up here after what you did and claim them. I know you hate me." "Hate you?" She stepped closer, and he caught her scent. Turpentine and cocoa butter, and something uniquely Jordan that made his chest ache. "Hate doesn't even begin to cover it, Minho Kong. You destroyed me. You told me I was a ghetto distraction you were embarrassed by. You said loving me was the biggest mistake of your life." Each word was a whip across his soul. He'd said those things to save her life, to make his family's enemies believe she meant nothing. But she didn't know that, couldn't know that. "If I could take it back, but you can't." Tears glittered in her eyes, but her voice remained steady. "So you don't get to waltz back into my life and play concerned father. My children don't need a man who's ashamed of them." "I'm not ashamed." "Then where have you been?" The question exploded out of her. 3 years, Minho, 3 years of double shifts teaching art classes. 3 years of choosing between buying groceries or art supplies. 3 years of Maya asking why she doesn't have a daddy like her friends at daycare. Where were you? The pain in her voice nearly brought him to his knees. "I didn't know. If I had known..." "You would have what? Married me? Introduced your crime family to your black girlfriend and mixed babies?" She shook her head. "We both know how that would have ended." She was right. 4 years ago, he'd been weaker, more concerned with family approval than fighting for what mattered. Things are different now. Are they? She crossed her arms. You're still wearing a $10,000 suit, still have that look like you own soul, still engaged to that perfect Korean girl who fits into your perfect life. He'd forgotten how well she could read him. Soo-yeon is none of my business, just like my children are none of yours. She turned away, gathering her supplies. Go home to your fiancé, Minho. Forget you saw us. I can't do that. You did it for 4 years, because I thought I was protecting you." The words tore out before he could stop them. She went very still. What? He'd said too much, but there was no taking it back now. There were threats. The Yakuza thought they could use you to get to me. The only way to keep you safe was to make sure everyone believed you meant nothing to me. Slowly, she turned around. Her face was unreadable. "So you decided to play God with my life?" "I was trying to save it. By breaking my heart? By making me believe I was worthless?" Her voice cracked. "I was pregnant, Minho. I found out 2 weeks after you threw me away. I was carrying your children, and you just told me loving me was your biggest mistake." The image of her alone, pregnant, believing he didn't love her, it was torture. "Jordan, I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry." Sorry doesn't give me back 4 years. Sorry doesn't erase the nights I cried myself to sleep wondering what I'd done wrong. Sorry doesn't... Her voice broke completely. He stepped toward her, but she held up a hand. "Don't. Just don't." She wiped her eyes. "I need you to leave." "I can't. Not now that I know about them. You don't have any rights here. They're my children. Biologically, maybe. But you're a stranger to them. And after what you put me through, you're going to stay that way." She was wrong about that. Now that he knew they existed, nothing would keep him from his children. But pushing now would only make things worse. "The welfare visit tomorrow," he said quietly. "I know about it." Fear flashed across her face. "How do you... Never mind, of course you know." "Let me help." "I don't need your help. Your studio barely breaks even. You're living in a 1-room apartment with 3 kids. Someone's reported you to child services. You're about to lose everything." His voice gentled. "Let me help." "And what would you want in return?" "Time with my children." She was quiet for a long moment. Finally, "I need to think about it." "Jordan." "I said I need to think about it." She grabbed her purse and keys. "I have to pick them up from my neighbor. She charges extra after 9. She was almost out the door when he called after her. "I never stopped looking for you." She paused but didn't turn around. "You should have looked harder." Then she was gone, leaving him standing alone in the empty studio with the weight of 4 years of mistakes crushing down on him. The next morning, Minho sat in his office reviewing shipment manifests when Ji-woo knocked. "The social worker just arrived at Ms. Mitchell's apartment," she reported. "And it's not going well. The landlord's there too. Eviction proceedings." He was on his feet before she finished speaking. "Get the car." They arrived to find Jordan in the narrow hallway, holding a crying toddler while 2 others clung to her legs. A stern woman in her 50s was taking notes while the landlord gestured at a stack of papers. "Ms. Mitchell, I understand you're facing challenges." The woman, her ID said Lee Sun-hee, Child Welfare Services, was saying. "But these children need stability, a safe, permanent living situation." "This is safe," Jordan insisted, her voice strained. "It's just temporary financial difficulties." "With what money?" the landlord demanded in heavily accented English. 3 months behind. Other tenants complain about noise, about children always running. "They're 3, Jordan snapped. "They're supposed to make noise." Minho stepped into the hallway and every head turned. He cut an imposing figure in his tailored black suit, radiating the kind of quiet authority that made people instinctively step aside. "Is there a problem here?" Ms. Lee straightened. "And you are?" "Minho Kang, Ms. Mitchell's partner." The word tasted strange, but right. "I understand there's confusion about her housing situation." Jordan stared at him, the toddler in her arms. Kai, he realized, going quiet as he studied Min Ho with curious eyes that were unmistakably Kang family eyes. "No confusion," the landlord said, though less aggressively now. "She owes money. She gets evicted. Simple." Min Ho pulled out his phone and made a call. "Jiwoo, transfer 100 million, one to..." He looked at the landlord. "Your name?" "Kim. Kim Sung-min. To Kim Sung-min's account. Now." He hung up and looked at Kim. "That should cover Miss Mitchell's back rent and a year in advance. I trust that resolves the eviction." Kim's phone buzzed. His eyes widened. Yes, of course." Ms. Lee was taking furious notes. "Mr. Kang, what exactly is your relationship to Ms. Mitchell and these children?" Before he could answer, Jordan stepped forward. "He's their father." The words hit him like a physical blow. She'd acknowledged it, publicly. Ms. Lee looked between them. "I see. And where have you been for the past 3 years, Mr. Kang?" "Unaware of their existence," he said simply. "But now that I know, I intend to be very involved." "Appa?" The little girl, Maya, peeked out from behind Jordan's legs, looking up at him with wide, curious eyes. His heart stopped. She'd called him father in Korean. This beautiful little person who shared his blood had just called him Appa. He crouched to her level. "Annyeong, Maya, ya?" She smiled, and it was like looking at sunshine. "You're really tall." "You're really beautiful," he said softly in Korean. "Yama says I look like my grandmother." "Which one?" "Both." She stepped closer, studying his face. "Do I look like you, too?" "Yes," he whispered. "You do." Ms. Lee cleared her throat. "While this is touching, I still have concerns about stability. Ms. Mitchell, you're clearly struggling financially, and Mr. Kang, your sudden appearance raises questions." Min Ho stood. There was one solution. "Ms. Mitchell and the children will be moving in with me." "Today," Jordan's head snapped up. "Excuse me?" "My home in Hanam-dong has a separate guest wing, fully furnished. They'll have privacy and security while we work things out." "Absolutely not." Ms. Lee looked intrigued. "That could provide the stability needed. Mr. Kang, I assume you can provide financial documentation?" "Of course." "And you, Ms. Mitchell? How do you feel about this arrangement?" Jordan looked trapped, weighing pride versus practicality, independence versus her children's welfare. "It would be temporary," she said finally, "just until I get back on my feet." "Excellent." Ms. Lee made notes. "I'll schedule a follow-up in 2 weeks. Mr. Kang, I need those financial records by tomorrow." "You'll have them." After they left, Jordan leaned against her apartment door, looking exhausted. The children had wandered inside, and he could hear them playing. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. I can't pay you back." "I don't want." "You two. I want to take care of my children." She looked up at him, guard momentarily down. "This doesn't change anything between us." "I know. I'm still angry." "I know that too. And I don't trust you." "You shouldn't. Not yet." He stepped closer. "But I'm going to earn it back, Jordan, however long it takes." She stared at him, then pushed off the door. "I need to pack. Jiwoo will send movers for the furniture." "We don't have much furniture." The casual way she said it made his chest tight. "Then we'll get new furniture, whatever they need. They don't need much, just..." She paused, vulnerability flickering across her face. "Just stability. They'll have it, I promise." She nodded once, then disappeared into the apartment. Through the open door, he could hear her explaining to the children that they were going on an adventure. "Will the tall man be there?" Maya asked in Korean. "Yes, baby." "Good," came Kai's voice. "I like him. He has kind eyes." Minho closed his eyes, overwhelmed. 3 hours ago, he'd been a man with no family except the criminal organization he'd inherited. Now he had 3 children who liked his eyes and called him Appa. It was more than he deserved, but he'd take it. And somehow, he'd find a way to deserve it. The guest wing of Minho's Hanam-dong home was larger than Jordan's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Han River, and the open-plan kitchen had equipment that made Jordan's eyes widen. "Iyama, look!" Maya pressed her face against the glass. "We can see the whole city." "I see it, baby." Kai was exploring the living room, running his hands along the furniture with careful reverence. Sienna sat cross-legged on the floor, arranging her collection of art supplies in precise rows, a ritual that helped her feel secure in new places. "The bedrooms are upstairs," Minho said from the doorway. He'd changed into dark jeans and a casual shirt that somehow made him look even more dangerous. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. "We can share 1 room," Jordan said quickly. "We don't need much space." "They should have their own rooms. They're used to sharing, and I need to be close to them." He studied her, and she had the uncomfortable feeling he could see right through her. The truth was, she couldn't afford to get comfortable here. This was temporary. "The master suite connects to 2 smaller rooms," he said finally. "You could keep the doors open." That was actually perfect. "Okay, thank you." An awkward silence fell, broken only by the children's exploration. "I should let you settle in." He moved toward the door. "Wait." He paused. "Thank you. For today. I know I don't deserve—" "You don't deserve it?" He stepped closer. "Jordan, you've been raising my children alone for 3 years. You've sacrificed everything for them. If anyone doesn't deserve help, it's me." The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. This wasn't the cold, controlled man who'd shattered her heart. There was something different about him now, something raw and real. "Iyama," Sienna came running over. "Can we paint our new rooms?" "Maybe tomorrow, baby. We need to unpack first." "I can show them the art studio," Minho offered, "if that's okay." Jordan hesitated. Part of her wanted to keep them close, maintain the protective barrier she'd built. But another part, the part that remembered his gentleness with Maya, wanted to see him with them. "Okay, but just for a few minutes." Watching Minho with the children was like seeing a different person emerge. He listened seriously to their chatter, answered their endless questions with patience, and even got down on the floor to help Sienna arrange her art supplies by color. The studio was in a converted basement, equipped with everything from oil paints to digital tablets. The children's eyes went wide. "This is bigger than Iyama's whole studio," Kai breathed. "Your mom can use it whenever she wants," Minho said, looking at Jordan. "I had it built for... I thought, maybe someday." He trailed off. "You kept it?" Jordan's voice was barely a whisper. "After all this time?" "I couldn't get rid of it. It felt like getting rid of you completely." Her chest tightened. This room was exactly like she'd described her dream studio to him years ago. He'd remembered. He'd kept it ready for her. "He doesn't usually warm up to people this fast," Jordan said, watching Kai show Minho his favorite drawing technique. "He's special. They all are." "Sienna's autistic," she said quietly. "High functioning, but she needs routine. Changes are hard for her." He nodded, absorbing the information. "What helps?" "Structure, clear expectations, and she loves art, painting especially. It calms her." "Then we'll make sure she has everything she needs." He watched Sienna carefully arrange brushes by size. "Does she know Korean?" "I taught all of them basic Korean. I thought..." She paused, I thought they should know about that part of their heritage. Even if their father would never be part of their lives. Show me. Jordan called to Sienna in Korean, asking her to name the colors of her paints. The little girl looked up, her serious dark eyes focusing, then began naming colors in perfect Korean pronunciation. When she finished, she looked at Minho expectantly. "Jal heseo," he said softly. "Very good." Sienna beamed and went back to her paints, but Jordan saw the emotion flash across Minho's face. He was falling in love with them. It was written in every line of his body, every soft word he spoke to them. That night, after the children were bathed and put to bed with Minho reading them Korean folk tales, Jordan found him on the terrace overlooking the city. "They're incredible," he said without turning around. "They are. I miss so much." The pain in his voice was raw. Despite everything, she felt a stab of sympathy. "You didn't know." "I should have known. I should have found you sooner. You made your choice 4 years ago. I made the wrong choice." He turned to face her. "I was a coward, Jordan. I let my family's expectations matter more than fighting for you. I'll regret it for the rest of my life." "Regret doesn't change anything." "No, but maybe this can." He stepped closer. "Let me prove I've changed. Let me prove I can be the man you and the children deserve." "And what about Soo Yeon?" His jaw tightened. "What about her?" "You're engaged, Minho. Supposed to marry her in 4 months. That was arranged by our families. It's not what? Not real, not important." She shook her head. "That poor woman thinks she's marrying someone who cares about her. She knows what this is, a business arrangement, just like I was supposed to know what we were, but I couldn't, because you—" He stopped himself. "Because I what?" "Because I fell in love with you." His eyes found hers. "I've only ever loved one woman, and she's standing right in front of me." The words hit her like a physical blow. She dreamed of hearing him say he loved her, but dreams were dangerous. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't what? Don't say things like that. Don't make this about love when it's really about guilt. You think that's what this is? I think you're a man who just discovered he has children, and you're confusing responsibility with emotion." He stepped closer. "You're wrong." "Am I? I've thought about you every day for 4 years. I've compared every woman to you. I've woken up reaching for you." His voice was rough. "That's not guilt, Jordan. That's love." Her breath caught. She wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly it hurt. "I can't do this. I can't let you hurt me again." "I won't." "You can't promise that. Your family still won't accept me. Your world still won't accept us. Everything has changed. I have children now, something worth fighting for." "You had something worth fighting for before. You chose not to fight." The words hung between them like a blade. She saw him flinch. "You're right," he said quietly. "I was a coward before, but I'm not anymore." "Prove it?" "How?" She met his eyes. "End your engagement. Tell your family about us. Choose us over them, publicly and permanently." She could see the war playing out across his features. Family loyalty versus love, duty versus desire, the same battle he'd fought 4 years ago. "I need time," he said finally. "Time for what? To figure out how to keep me as your secret?" "That's not what I want." "Then what do you want?" "You, them, a life together." "Then take it. Stop asking permission and take what you want." She turned to go inside, but his voice stopped her. "And if choosing you means losing everything else?" She looked back. Then you'll know what I felt like 4 years ago when I lost you. The next morning, Jordan woke to laughter from downstairs. She'd set alarms, but somehow slept through them. Panic shot through her as she threw on a robe and hurried down. Minho was in the kitchen with all 3 children making breakfast. He was still in pajamas, silk pants and a t-shirt, and there was flour in his hair. Yama! Maya ran over. Minho Appa made Korean pancakes with faces. Jordan looked at the elaborate spread, then at Minho. You didn't have to. I wanted to. I used to cook for my younger cousins. He flipped a pancake with practiced ease. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it. Kai was carefully cutting his pancake into precise squares, while Sienna arranged her fruit in a rainbow pattern. They looked comfortable, settled, like they belonged here. That was dangerous. I need to get to the studio, she said. Figure out what paintings I can sell to catch up on bills. I already handled the studio rent, 6 months in advance. She stared at him. You can't just... Can we discuss this later? He glanced meaningfully at the children. She wanted to argue, but not in front of them. Fine, but we will discuss it. After breakfast, Minho announced he had business to handle but would be back for dinner. The children hugged him goodbye like it was the most natural thing in the world. They were getting attached. Jordan could see it happening. The way Sienna sought his approval for her drawings, how Kai asked when he was coming back, the way Maya had started calling him Minho Appa like it was his official title. What happened when this ended? When Minho decided his family mattered more than them? Her phone buzzed. Her best friend, Tasha Williams. Girl, where are you? Your landlord said you moved out. Jordan sighed and called her back. Please tell me you didn't do something crazy, Tasha said immediately. Define crazy. Oh no, what did you do? I'm staying at Minho's house. Silence. Then, I'm sorry. Did you just say you're staying at the house of the man who destroyed your life? It's complicated. It's stupid, Jordan. Honey, have you lost your mind? He's their father. He's also the man who told you that loving you was his biggest mistake, the man who made you cry for months, the man who... I know what he did. Do you? Because it sounds like you're falling for him again. Was she? Jordan watched the children play on the terrace, their laughter carrying on the breeze. He's different now. Different how? He's good with them, patient, kind. You should see him with Sienna. He spent an hour yesterday teaching her Korean art terms. And what about with you? Jordan was quiet. Complicated how? He says he loves me, says he's always loved me. And you believe him? I don't know. Sometimes when he looks at me, it's like the past 4 years never happened. But they did happen. You're a mother now, and he's still a criminal with a family who hates you. I know. Do you? Because it sounds like you're setting yourself up for heartbreak number 2. After hanging up, Jordan sat watching her children, Tasha's words echoing in her head. She was falling for him again, despite every logical reason not to. But when had she ever been logical about Min Ho Kang? That evening, he returned with bags from an expensive toy store and enough Korean takeout to feed a small army. You don't have to buy them things, Jordan said. I want to. I have 3 years of birthdays to make up for. That's not how it works. Then tell me how it works, 'cause I'm figuring this out as I go. The honesty caught her off guard. You just be present, consistent, show up every day. I'm trying. For how long? Until the novelty wears off? He was quiet, watching Sienna arrange her new art supplies by size. My grandmother wants to meet them. Jordan's blood ran cold. What? I told her about the children. She wants to meet her great-grandchildren. You told her? Panic clawed at her throat. Minho what? Were you thinking? She deserves to know they exist. And what did she say about me? His silence was answer enough. She doesn't want me there. Not a question. She needs time to adjust. Adjust to what? That her precious grandson got a black woman pregnant? Don't. His voice was sharp. Don't reduce yourself to that. Why not? That's how she sees me. My grandmother is traditional, but she's not... Not what? Not racist? Not the reason you chose your family over me 4 years ago? He ran a hand through his hair. It's complicated. No, it's not. Either you choose us or you choose them. Why can't I have both? Because they'll never accept us.